is the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans, with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, and Jason Eidsmoe. We're talking Padres, Chargers, and Aztec sports.
Got to hit it to the right place. And he hits it out to center. Right center. Blackman's got a long way to go. He's still going.
Off the wall.
And it is off the wall. It takes a funny hop. Kemp is rounding second. He's heading to third. And Matt Kemp into third base with a triple and the first cycle in the history of the San Diego Padres.
He will hand it off. Tomlinson plows his way towards the goal line. LaDainian Tomlinson, one step closer to football immortality. Tomlinson has tied the single-season record. And the handoff to Tomlinson. Left side, and he will gallop into the end zone. Charger fans are witnesses to history.
Pope thought about it. Now steps up. And the freshman hits the jumper at the buzzer.
Well, this kid is some prospect. Big time length, big time game.
Pope straightaway three. Count it. Malik Pope. Pope off classic good. On the other end, Joel doesn't miss that one. Shepard alley-oop to Pope. He got up there. Oh, wow.
It's time to let your voice be heard.
All right, Football Sunday is back. It is Sunday. It's 9 o'clock. That means, of course, it's time for the San Diego Sports Junkies pregame show. Chargers are going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. I'm Jason Eidsmoe, and Justin Smead is your other sports junkie that will be along this ride with you. And joining us once again after taking a couple weeks off, David Drogemeyer from the San Diego Sports Domination Podcast. David, how you doing?
Hey, doing great, man. Always a good Sunday to talk about Chargers football, and the Bolts are actually looking pretty good.
Yes, we're happy to see that you survived going into the stadium playing when we played against the Texans. I know there were a few Charger fans out there, but you were definitely outnumbered, so it's nice to see that you got out of there alive after walking around there with your Charger cape on.
Yeah, I was pretty ambitious out there. I mean, I took my Charger flag, and I was telling the boys before we got on the show, I pretty much stuck it in the Houston Texans fans' face every time we made a big play, and yeah, it had a couple of butthurt Houston fans, but for the most part, they were good sports about everything. So it was a good environment. Great, beautiful stadium.
It's all in fun as long as nobody takes it too seriously. Justin, how's it going, my friend?
Doing well. Sunday morning, got a cup of coffee, talking Charger football with you fellas.
Yes, and we're taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which a much better team than the Texans,
yes.
And it's going to be interesting because last week I talked about how I thought the Chargers won basically because they played a team that wasn't that good.
Right.
This week we're playing a much better team, and a few injury notes. Atauchu did finally get put on IR with the foot injury. They said he hurt it a week or two ago. He's been kind of battling it all year long, I think, and this was a lost season for him, I think, really. David, what's your thoughts on Atauchu?
Yeah, I mean, I saw him actually injure finally injure his foot in the Houston game. There was definitely a pronounced time where he exited the field and walked with a trainer and immediately left the field. That was probably in the fourth quarter. Late in the fourth quarter, you just see him and the trainer walking off, and he definitely had his head down, didn't look good. I really feel like the straw that broke the camel's back was in that Houston game.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt that. I was just wondering if it's something he was battling and it just finally got worse.
Well, you never know, especially with Coach McCoy. I mean, he doesn't say anything about injuries, just like Jatavis Brown. Right. What the hell is going on with him? I've been asking for weeks.
I saw your
tell
Twitter.
Me something.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy's been an absolute ball hawk, a baller, a guy that's just taken the football game by storm when he's on the field, but he's been out for several weeks, and the only thing they say is a knee injury. Okay, give me more. Come on now.
First of all, Hal has joined us in the chat room. He says,
What's up, Hal?
Good morning, apologists. He's starting already.
First shot fired.
I'll tell you what, I'm as frustrated as you are, David, but that's actually one of the things I like about McCoy is the fact that nobody really knows what's going on with Jatavis Brown. And us as fans, we would love to know. But the fact that they're keeping it quiet, I like the fact that other teams don't know. And I like that about him. I know a lot of people hate McCoy. I know a lot of people bash McCoy. It's one of the things I really like about him is how vague they are with injuries because, the Patriots do that and nobody complains about that. Now, the Patriots win too. That's one of the things that they got going for them, and we're not winning right now.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things that I like about him. And replacing Atauchu on the roster is Carruthers, who has had a really career of nothing so far. He's really, really been a disappointment. I know when we first drafted him, Mikey was, we were doing our draft show. Mikey was really upset with that draft pick. He didn't think he was ever going to be good. And Mikey's been really right so far. Atauchu, he's battled some injuries and, I'm sorry, not Atauchu. Carruthers has battled some injuries and, he really has done nothing so far to show us anything. He's just another body really that they brought up because he knows the system. Chargers, they've batted around the lineup by announcing defensive captains, and now it's Corey Leggett's turn. Everybody else has been injured. Not that Leggett doesn't deserve to be a defensive captain. I agree with it, and I like the pick. But all that means really now is he's going to go out for the season, and we're going to have to pick somebody else next week.
Oh, man.
Stop it. Stop the bleeding.
Jatavis Brown, like you mentioned, David, he's out with a knee injury. We don't know what it is. Unfortunately for him, we know that with this training staff, 3-week injuries turn into 6-week injuries, and 1-week injuries turn into 4-week injuries.
Maybe he's got the bird flu.
Maybe he's got the bird flu in the knee. Brandon Flowers out with the concussion from when he got shoved into somebody's knee. I'm still pissed off about that, by the way. Yeah. You guys agree with me? We're probably not going to see him for the remainder of the year, is what I'm thinking.
Honestly, I think we might not see him at all ever again in an NFL uniform. If you guys got to remember, this is like his 4th or 5th concussion. And when you get to that level, I mean, there's no question that you have some kind of permanent brain damage. And you got to start thinking about life after football in this situation. He's been too injured. He's got kids. He's got a wife. He's got to start thinking about life after football. Because, again, guys, this game and the time spent playing this game is temporary.
Yeah, Justin, you think that could be the case with Flowers not only out for the season, but maybe that might be the last game we see him play in?
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I agree with everything David said. He does have a family to look forward to, and when you suffer that many concussions, guys, and it's repetitive and it reoccurring, it's scary. It's a scary thing, and regardless of your talent, and it's unfortunate to say because he's still a young man. He can still play this game at a high level, and that's unfortunate. He's really going to have to do some decision making when the off season comes, and I hope for our sake he plays, but for the betterment of just his life, he might want to just hang him up. Who knows?
And the thing about Brandon Flowers, I'm not a concussion expert. There's not very many of them out there really. But if you notice, he's not out there just getting dinged. When he gets his concussions, he's face down on the turf, knocked out, and they're really, really bad. Mikey Maciejewski, I believe, has joined us. Mikey, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hal's voice on the show, of course, has joined us. We were just talking about Brandon Flowers being out once again. I had mentioned we probably won't be seeing him for the rest of the year, and David and Justin both actually think that we might not ever see him again. He might be done in the NFL. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I just caught what Justin said, but I agree with Justin. I mean, there's things bigger than football, and that's being able to enjoy time with your family. And I'm not sure if he has kids, but if you have kids, you want to spend time with them as well. And you can't do that if you can't remember who they are, what their name is. So things bigger than football, and actually for, we haven't really talked much. I mean, we talked about Brandon Flowers. Usually we criticize him on that show, but I really hope that he does what's best for him in his life, and for me that might be just hanging it up, man. Enjoy your life, man. You made enough money. You made more money than I'll ever make. Enjoy it. Live a comfortable life.
What are you talking about? You're a teacher. You're loaded. You guys get paid a ton of money.
All right, you make more money than Jason will ever make.
Okay, there we go. Now we got the trio of shoulder injuries. We got Tyrell Williams with the shoulder. He's going to be battling that all year. That's we're hoping that it doesn't get worse because he's had a really good year. Tenny Palapoy has been battling a shoulder. We're hoping that he's able to play. DJ Fluker is also battling a shoulder. He didn't participate in the last practice this week, but he's expected to play today. But the Tyrell Williams shoulder injury, I've spoken all year about. I know Justin and Jake both have been big on Tyrell Williams way back before it was cool to be big on Tyrell Williams. By the way, props to you guys. But I've been saying he's not a number one. He's a number 2 or 3, but he's been forced into the number 1. But since he is our number 1, having him go out for the year 2, I mean, what are we going to bring back Griff Whalen? What are we going to be doing here if he can't play? Justin, I'm sorry. What are we going to?
Oh, it's okay. I didn't know you were talking.
I was looking at you.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I don't know who you're looking at. I know the Skype thing. No, I don't want to bring back Griff Whalen, and I was a proponent of bringing in Griff Whalen. I liked Griff Whalen.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to see him on the Charger uniform at all.
No, he fooled me too. Don't worry.
God, he did fool me. I thought he was going to be a nice.
Not me.
Oh, you were right on.
Not me.
But for sure, it's devastating. You can't. Look, if you guys remember, Jason Verrett had a similar injury, and he tried to play through this similar type injury as well, and it didn't work out. It's tough to move your arm here and there, going up for reaching for balls.
But wide receivers don't really have to move their arms, do they?
Come on. Yeah, exactly.
But there are certain things they can do to protect against the injury, though, too. You're not going to throw any fades or any jump balls to him right now. I mean, crossing around, the Keenan Allen crossing route is probably what you're going to see, and he's shown that he can be effective in that route.
Yeah.
Right, but that's you can't play that way, though.
Right, exactly.
You got to be at your full potential. Phillip Rivers is going to go out there and go up. Can't throw that back fade, shoulder fade, towards the end zone because your shoulder's messed. I mean, you can't. You got to play. You got to play to your full capacity, dude. You can't.
Right.
You can't be out there 50%. That's just my opinion. And you might have a different take. And
guys do that every day. Right. Guys do that every day.
I just wonder. I wonder with if he's limited and the other team knows he's limited, it's going to be a lot easier to cover those crossing patterns.
Well, This injury isn't new, guys. I hope you guys know that. I mean, he's been playing with this for weeks. I mean, it just came out recently that it was a torn labrum, but he's been playing like this for weeks. So he's already shown that he can play and play at a pretty decent level.
If that's the case, then good on that because we didn't know that. I didn't know that. I heard he was banged up, but I didn't know the extent of the injury. Now,
it's a torn labrum.
Yeah, and if you're going out there with a torn labrum, that's some serious stuff, and we can all agree on that. That's no joke. That's nothing to slide after. So it's
definitely not
for him. He's just got to play to his ability. If he can't do certain things, he shouldn't be out there, though. That's just my opinion.
Understood.
I want to agree with Justin there. I mean, being a person who's torn his shoulder apart and had to have surgery 3 times to repair it. It is. And really the biggest thing is when he gets wrapped up, once you get wrapped up, there's no protecting that shoulder anymore. You're going to fall the way you are, and that can complicate things in the pain threshold area. So, I mean, I thought
shots.
For a while he was dealing with the knee. He was dealing with the knee for a while as well.
Yeah.
So, it's
lots of cortisone for that man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, guys. I mean, if he gets a cortisone shot, and he's not going to feel anything.
Well, the thing is,
that's what that shot does, man.
My point is when we got your number 3 wide receiver as your number 1 wide receiver, and now he's limited with a bum wheel and a bum shoulder, and we all do know Rivers. Throughout his history, he likes throwing the ball up and letting the receivers go get it. That's always been his style. That's the way he is. Having him go up, when you go up and catch the ball, that's just that much farther to fall on your shoulder. And whether it actually limits his ability to play or not is going to be debatable. But what's not debatable is if he gets tackled on it, it could be the end of the season for him. And that's all we need is another guy to go out.
Got to respect the heart, though. Just to close that up, you got to respect the heart.
Absolutely. With a lot of these guys, a lot of the offensive linemen last year, they sucked and they played bad. But that's why everybody liked Joe Barksdale in the offseason because he played all those games. That's the way we liked. I just lost his name right now. The the offensive lineman that we got from Buffalo last season.
Hairston.
Hairston. That's why we like Hairston, because he fought through all those injuries and he played. You know, he didn't play great, but you know, we love the heart. Okay. We respect the heart. A few milestones before we go to a break. Antonio Gates is going to be playing in his 200th game. That's going to tie him with Seo, and Russ Washington is number 1 by every down player. David Binn, of course, has the record for 256. Love David Binn, but you know, long snapper's a little bit different than playing tight end or linebacker.
Pamela Anderson.
Phillip Rivers is only 37 yards away from passing. You know who he's going to pass? Drew Bledsoe. I didn't know Drew Bledsoe was number 12. I didn't realize that he was that high on the list.
Played a lot of years, man.
Yeah.
He played
he played in New England and Seattle? Did he play in Seattle?
New England.
He played with Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo. Yeah.
He played with
New England, and that was it.
And he played up in Washington, right? That was his college, I believe. That's why.
I think. Yeah.
And then if Mikey's favorite guy, Phillip Rivers, throws for 300 yards, it'll be his 51st game throwing for 300 yards. Will tie Dan Fouts for the record. I know, you know, that's pretty good for a quarterback that sucks so bad, huh, Mikey?
Yeah, I mean for a low tier quarterback, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad. And then Melvin Gordon is, you know, for a quarterback that's not the focal point of the team, that's pretty good.
Hashtag focal point.
Melvin Gordon.
Who are we picking on here with this?
We're picking on Mikey. Mikey and Jake have been going back and forth with this whole focal point, and Mikey's been banging on Rivers, so that's who we're trying to give Mikey a hard time here. Melvin Gordon, of course, 92 yards away from 1,000, and he's 1 touchdown away from 10 rushing touchdowns, which all props to Mikey. I do believe in the preseason. Didn't you bold predictions say that Melvin Gordon would have 10 rushing touchdowns this year?
Yeah, I actually started off with 1, and then you guys said that wasn't good enough. So I said 10, and you guys all laughed.
We did all laugh.
You might be laughing soon. You guys
nobody's laughing now.
Nobody's laughing now. Not that I didn't think. House is not bad for a below 500 quarterback. Youch.
That's hilarious.
All right, with that, we're definitely gonna go take a quick break here. We're going to be coming back, and we're going to be talking about the Chargers on the offensive side of the ball if they can take advantage of the Bucs defense. We'll be right back, guys.
San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers, San Diego Superchargers, San Diego.
Calling all podcasters. Have you ever wanted your voice to be heard? Do you need help expanding your audience? Are you curious just how far your show could reach? Well, look no further. We are New Media Radio Network, the premier podcast streaming network. Let us take your show to the next level. For more information, check out our website, www.newmediaradio.net.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSD.com.
The time has come. You know we're shooting for number 1. The thunderbolts and lightning will light up the sky.
All right, we're back like a broken record. I'm going to once again say how much I love that song. Every time I hear it, I love it even more. Chargers on the offensive side of the ball. You know, I'd like to say they've struggled with injuries this year, but on offense and defensive side of the ball, they've struggled with injuries. So that's really nothing new. Few things a few points that I wanted to make, and then if you guys have anything that you guys want to add to it. My first thing is I want to see consistency from Dontrell Inman. I'd love to see him show up for 2 games in a row. He's one of those guys where you forget he's on the team. He's almost like he's having a little bit of a better season than Vincent Brown, but it was like Vincent Brown where you see him play and you go, God damn, why isn't he more part of this offense? And then he disappeared for 2 or 3 games. Inman needs to keep it going with some more consistency. What are your thoughts on Inman, Justin? Do you think that he can do that, or do you think last week was an anomaly?
No, he's totally capable of doing that. The problem is they're so depleted. He's going to have to. We're so limited. He's got to step up, and he's got to put 3 or 4 good games together, because who else is there, guys? I mean, Jeremy Butler, or I don't even know those guys' names.
We're running out.
They need to wear name tags at Charger Park, I'm sure, but. He's got to. I agree with you. He's got to put 2 or 3 games together for Phillip to really just trust him. I know he does, but for the fans' sake, we'd like to see more consistency.
With Tyrell Williams kind of aching like we were talking before, David, do you think Dontrell Inman needs to step up and be the number 1 target today for the wide receivers?
I mean, I like to see. I don't know if we necessarily need him to be the number 1 receiver. I'd like to see them go deep with Travis Benjamin a couple times in this game
I almost forgot he's on the team.
To loosen up the middle of the field for the tight ends, and I'll talk about the tight ends later. I feel like the tight ends are really going to have a big day today. But back to the receivers here. I think as each game goes by, I think Phillip Rivers is trusting Dontrell Inman more. When you see Phillip Rivers roll out and throw to a receiver, and that receiver makes a play for you, you're going to have some more confidence in that guy, and you're going to want to go back to him again and again. So the more that happens, the stronger that bond is, the better that they're going to be together.
Mikey, Dontrell Inman, he's been on the team for a few years. Really has an opportunity to solidify his role on the team this year with all the injuries. Do you think that we're ready to see him step up and maybe give us a couple good games in a week, a couple good games in a row?
I think really has to do with game plan. I mean, I've been looking at his games sometimes, and it really becomes a matchup of he's really able to take advantage of that second cornerback when they're not very good, Right. And I mean, when you find like a rookie or something, he's able to take advantage of that. When he's been doing that well, especially with the emergence of Tyrell. It's opened it up a little bit for him, but he isn't consistent, and I haven't seen anything to suggest that he won't be otherwise. And it'll really be matchup based. I mean, today's game. The secondary is, middle of the pack for the Bucs, so he may find some success, but he's so inconsistent. It's hard to tell. I don't think he has the ability to step up to be that consistent threat.
Brent Grimes is probably going to be he's going to probably be covering Tyrell Williams today, which means Vernon Hargreaves, who I've, to be honest with you, I've never even heard of him. The second cornerback. Not to say he's not that good, but maybe this will be a chance for Dontrell Inman to kind of take advantage of the secondary a little bit. But Brent Grimes, interesting. He's played 3 career games against Phillip Rivers back when Grimes was on the Dolphins, and he has 4 interceptions against him. He's been able to take advantage of them. David, do you think that's been just the luck of the draw, or do you think that he maybe knows has figured out some of Rivers' tendencies?
Well, I don't know, man. You got to give Brent Grimes his credit. I mean, he's a feisty, good little corner, and he's had some good games against Phillip. I mean, you can't take that away from him. But I think this is a big matchup problem if that is the case, because you got to remember Brent Grimes is, I think, 5'8", maybe 5'9", and Tyrell Williams, last time I checked, is 6'4". Yeah, so there's a 6 or 7 inch advantage there in height, and I mean, Phillip Rivers would be stupid not to at least try to exploit that.
Yeah, I don't think Rivers is afraid of anybody anyway. So I think that one of the good things about him is he's going to throw to whoever's open. Justin,
agreed.
Brent Grimes, do you think he's got Phillip Rivers' number, or do you think that it's kind of been the luck of the draw the way he's been playing?
Yeah, I think it's just everything's predicated on situations. If he's had some picks against Phillip, there's other corners in this league who has had picks against Phillip. He's not scared of any corner in this league,
right.
And he's not afraid to tell you about it, as we know. So Phillip's going to be Phillip, and I don't think Brent Grimes or anybody else in that secondary is worrisome for Phillip Rivers.
Before we get to the tight ends, because I do want to talk about the tight ends, let's talk about the defensive line for the Bucs. Robert Ayers, Gerald McCoy, Clinton McDonald, and William Golston. Pretty tough matchup for our offensive line. And another guy, Noah Spence, who is he's a rookie defensive end. I know that he kind of rotates in, but he's got 5.5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles this year. We are talking about Joey Bosa. Those are some pretty good stats for a rookie defensive end. And once again, I'm going to say it again until they show me some consistency. This guy is licking his chops getting ready to go up against these offensive tackles, from the Chargers. We mentioned Barksdale earlier, and and of course King Dunlap have just really had subpar seasons this year. Justin, do you worry that the Bucs defensive line and actually the Bucs front seven, which is pretty stout, is going to take advantage of our offensive line?
One thing I do like, and we don't watch Tampa Bay Buccaneer football religiously, right? So, but the thing that about them, and what I've known about them for probably 3 or 4 years now, with the Gerald McCoys of the world and all the guys they have on that D line, they are a stout group. They are huge. They are big. They're physical, and that's the name of their game. They like to try to stop the run. They like to push the pocket back, and that's how they've made their hallmark. That's their calling card. That's what they've been for a few years now, and that's the one thing that has popped out to me when I think of the Bucs. I think of a physical front group. Very concerning today with I don't want to bag on King Dunlap or Joe Barksdale, but they just haven't been playing very good football this year. I know that's been okay football. It's good that they're healthy, knock on wood, and that's the best part about these guys. They're staying healthy, so we should be grateful for that. But very concerning today. They're going to have to chip block. They're going to have a big sets to start the game. I believe go at them with the run. Try to kind of force their hand to not just guess what we're doing, but give Phillip time to throw the football, and he can get it to anybody. We know that. Yeah,
we do know that, and I know, Mikey, you're a big fan of defensive line, and you think how important it is for the defensive line to play well. Do you think that the Bucs have the advantage front seven versus our Chargers offensive line?
No, not really. I feel like well, let me rephrase that. Against the offensive line that we have now, yes. They have the advantage, but I think they're still not they're not the same defensive line that you remember, Justin. That's the image that you bring up. It's totally understandable, but that's not the same line. I think in the pass game, their pass rush is better than stopping the run, so that will be an issue. But I don't think they're all worldly or anything. I think they can be beat, and I think with a good game plan, if the McCoy and Wisenhunt can get something together, they should be able to get some scheme there in the blocking to open things up for the offense. So not very concerned. Not like I was last week. Definitely not like I was last week with Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, I'm worried about the pass rush, to be honest with you. David, how should our approach be against this Bucs defense? Should we try and beat them on the ground, or should we be trying to attack them through? I know it's the easiest thing to say is we have to be balanced. So, but let's getting away from that, because we know that we need to be balanced. So getting away from that, do you think that we can expose them more on the ground or through the air? Uh-oh, you're muted.
This Bucs defense, this Bucs defense as a whole is really fast, but they're also really undersized. So I think we can use our big running back, Melvin Gordon, and our very big offensive line and punish this Buccaneers defense. So I'd like to see them establish the run game throughout this game. I really feel like there's an opportunity to pound the rock, and Melvin Gordon's 92 yards away from 1,000. I think he's going to get there in this game. I really do. And when Melvin Gordon has a good game, then the entire Chargers offense has a good game. So loosen up that Buccaneers defense with Melvin Gordon throughout the game, and utilize the tight ends all game long. The Buccaneers struggle covering the tight ends. They have throughout the entire season, and the Chargers just happen to have two really, really, really good ones.
Yeah, and that's the next point I wanted to make was the tight ends. Gates had 0 catches and 0 targets last week. It was a bummer. I don't mind it, to be honest with you. If the other team, if their goal is to take Gates out, let them waste guys taking Gates out. That's fine with me. But I do think actually today is the day for Hunter Henry and Antonio Gates to really expose this linebackers and especially the safeties. Justin, do you think that we could be looking at a pretty big game out of our tight ends?
Yeah, especially Antonio Gates. After the game, Phillip made his comments, and he addressed why they didn't go to Gates. They were eliminating Gates most of the day. He just didn't look his way. That happens at times. If that is the game plan, like you alluded to, let them, because there's going to be other guys open. Mismatches. Hunter Henry, in this game today could have a huge day, just because of, like we were saying earlier, the defense doesn't scare you. I was just pointing out that they're a physical bunch. Their linebackers they're okay, but there's going to be mismatches all over this field today for Phillip to pick apart. So I do expect the tight ends to have a very good day.
What kind of a day do you expect from the tight ends there, Mikey? Do you think that it's something that we can use to expose this defense a little bit?
No, not really, guys.
All right, have a good day. All right, I got to go.
We've come in, I feel like we've come in every week saying, oh, this week it's Hunter Henry, this week it's Antonio Gates. But really, outside of one big game each, they've been pretty non-existent and not, they haven't really contributed much to the offense. I mean, yeah, they have a play here and there, but they're not dominating the way I thought they would be.
They have five touchdowns apiece, man.
Touchdowns are
both of them.
I'm looking at receptions. I'm looking at yards.
Yeah,
and
they are down a little bit in those aspects, but they do have 5 touchdowns apiece. You're right, but I agree. I think that they've actually been underutilized, both of them this year. Not underutilized, they've underperformed. To be honest with you, game to game, there's been too many games where we just haven't got any production out of our tight ends, and I think we have too much talent at the tight end position to get that. Is that kind of what you're trying to get at, Mikey?
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, for me, I mean, touchdowns vary so much. So I mean, as much as I love to throw the fact that Melvin Gordon has 9 touchdowns, like 6 of them are for like the 1 yard line. That's not the same as hitting 100 yards. As much, they're on the same value in as like your production study. They're just very inconsistent, and I really don't think again, I don't think that's what you're gonna be looking at. I know Justin mentions mismatches all over the field. The biggest mismatch is gonna be Melvin Gordon on what that undersized defense. That's the biggest mismatch you have all day. So that's really what we need to focus on, and they'll get theirs, if we can establish the run game.
I agree. I think that the key is like where David started was establishing the run game, and this is a team that we have a chance to really take advantage of in the run game. And we talk about it every week how important the run game is, and I think that this is a real chance for us to do that. Moving on, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back on the other side. We're going to talk about what the Chargers need to do on the defensive side of the ball, and then we're going to end with some predictions from everybody here, some bold prediction also. We'll be right back.
West Coast is back, better respect the name. It's the San Diego Chargers, feel the lightning bang. Kill the hype, we reign, SD running this game. This is 619, straight born and raised. This ain't no fad or phase.
Need help with your business project that is due? Maybe you need business cards to help your business stand out. We at San Diego Sports Junkies got you covered. SK Digital Imaging can do it all. Give our buddy Sean K a call, 858-408-0732. SK Digital Imaging, from business cards to the bigger projects. SK Digital Imaging and our buddy Sean K will get your printing done right.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSD.com.
Go can feel you buffing now. Sing the anthem so the whole world can hear you.
All right, Chargers Anthem by POD. Same song that David Drogemeyer opens his podcast to. Real good song to just get you pumped up for football Sunday. When the Chargers are on defense, we're going to be playing against a completely different team than we played last week. Last week, let's be honest with you, Brock Osweiler is not a very scary guy as a quarterback this year. He just is not.
Nice.
Jameis Winston is. I know it's only his second season, and he's got a lot of room to still improve, but Jameis Winston is 10 times the quarterback that Brock Osweiler is, and here's my my first worry is containing Jameis Winston. I'm going to make a one prediction right here. Jameis Winston's going to run for 4 first downs today. I don't know if that's very bold or not, but that's what I worry about. I worry about him rushing for first downs. I worry about him on 3rd and 17 running for 20 yards. I worry about him on 3rd and 5 running for 20 yards. I worry about him on 3rd and 1 running for 5 yards. And that's not his whole game. I'm not saying he's like a running quarterback out there, but I just worry about him out there taking advantage of our defense and our linebackers. David, do you agree with me? Do you think that's a worry for Jameis Winston?
I mean, it's something you have to definitely be aware of, and you have to make sure that you keep a guy out and on the outside to contain him. But I mean, it's not something that you necessarily have to worry about completely. I think with Jameis Winston, he has a tendency to try to fit balls in windows where he necessarily shouldn't be. And so he has a tendency to turn the football over. So I think the Chargers have taken the ball away at least one time in every game this season, and I think that's going to continue.
I have a feeling, and this is realistic.
Hey guys, I got to step out.
All right.
I'll join in about a few minutes. All right.
Okay, thanks, David. I have a worry. My worry is Jameis Winston sticking it up our pooper today and running for 50 yards and throwing for 300 yards. I'm really concerned with that. I'm concerned that the injuries are going to catch up. Like I said, realistic Rob here. I don't think that we have enough talent left on the roster to stop somebody like this, and I'm concerned that he's going to really put up some big numbers today. Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, him and Mike Evans scare the living crap out
Mike
of me.
Evans I'm going to get to next.
Yeah, and Jameis alone with his scramble ability and playmaking ability, he's a freakish athlete, as we know. He's kind of like a Cam Newton type, hard to bring down. He's elusive in the pocket. He steps up into the pocket. He makes really tough throws. He does everything now, I think, in his second year that you would look for in a franchise quarterback, and he's been really good for them. He's learned on the fly still. He's still kind of growing into that franchise quarterback type of guy, but he's playing at a high level. Jameis Winston's very, very concerning. I don't know how we're going to be able to guard against him moving around in the pocket. That's going to be a big task for us today.
Mikey, is Jameis Winston gonna bend us over and stick it up our pooper today?
I share your concern, Jason. I share your concern. The defense is going to have to be very, very disciplined and not allow those running lanes for Jameis Winston. Don't let him escape the pocket and get out of there. But, yeah, 4 first downs sounds about right to me, Jason. I mean, honestly, he and like you guys have both mentioned, he's a big guy. So he's not one of those guys that, you really can just say, oh, my cornerback's going to come up and just bring him down very easily.
Right.
It's gonna be, you can't miss tackles here on this guy, which he can make you do, and it's gonna be interesting. I mean, you're going to have to account for that passing game, which is a passing game, and just Jameis Winston running the ball. I mean, it's always been the Chargers' issue. We've talked about this like last year so many times. When you get a running quarterback, containing in the pocket has always been a problem, and I don't see with the roster that we have right now why that won't continue.
Yeah, I know it was only preseason, but we made Colin Kaepernick look like he should be starting in this league, and we have all seen this year looking that he shouldn't be. Besides the running abilities of Jameis Winston, like I said, he's not even really a running quarterback, but I just worry about that. But Casey Hayward versus Mike Evans, there's not any Charger fan or anybody in the whole league that could say Casey Hayward signing to San Diego was a bad move by the Chargers. It's been fantastic. He's been really, really good. Mike Evans is 6'5", 231. Casey Hayward is going to have his hands full today with Mike Evans. But not only that, and there's no bigger Craig Mager apologist than me, but I'm really afraid Cecil Shorts today is going to put up 100 yards on Craig Mager today. That's that's a little bit of a concern for me, too. I think the Chargers are going to overcompensate trying to help out with Mike Evans, and I think Cecil Shorts is going to have a big game. David, what are your thoughts on the wide receivers from Tampa Bay? You're on mute, buddy. Still mute. We'll go Justin first, and then we'll go to David. Justin, what are your thoughts on the wide receivers coming coming up against our cornerbacks.
Yeah, it's concerning. Each week we do this, right? We do this Casey Hayward. We do the Casey Hayward game. Is he a good matchup? He as good as you just said he was, and he is. We know he's not a number one corner in this league. He's a solid number two, and he's a great nickel guy. He's a ball hawk. He's a great player.
He is a ball hawk, that's for sure.
He's not
6 INTs.
Yeah,
and he's not the caliber of a Jason Verrett that would be going against Mike Evans today.
Right.
And that sucks. It really sucks. He's going to have his hands full, like you said. This is a tough matchup. They're going to have to keep a guy clouded on him all day, over the top, underneath, bring linebackers in zone coverage, help out on that side of the field because he is that good of a player. Cecil Shorts, I'll let him run all over all day long, just intermediate routes, whatever. Just don't let Mike Evans beat you. That's the whole game today.
But that's my point is the fact that Cecil Shorts might have himself a really, really big game. David, what's your thoughts on the wide receiver versus our cornerbacks?
David, do you mind I have to get going. Do you mind if I just,
go for it. Go for it real quickly, Mike.
Thank you.
We keep skipping, David.
Sorry, David. Just I'm going to have to get going here. Agree with you. Cecil Shorts might have a big day, but agree with Justin. Do not let Mike Evans beat you. I don't care what you have to do.
Exactly.
Put 4 guys on him. Do what you
Put your whole
do.
team on him. Just don't let him beat you.
Yeah, leave everybody else. No, you just cannot let Mike Evans beat you because I've watched Mike Evans and Jameis Winston, and Jameis Winston will get to Mike Evans early and often, and it won't stop. And if you let him do that, this game can get out of control right away. So let Cecil Shorts, do his thing. Let him get under and get some yards underneath, but do not let Mike Evans beat you because he will beat you intermediate to long to short everywhere. And then they dictate the game. So you cannot let them dictate the passing game.
David,
see you guys.
Thanks a lot, Mike, for joining us this morning.
Later,
David,
Mike.
finally, after skipping over you a couple times, Chargers cornerbacks versus Tampa Bay wide receivers. What's your overall thoughts?
Double Mike Evans all game long. You have to. You got to take him out of the game because Mike Evans is the receiver that Jameis Winston's going to look to when he's in trouble. And he's going to try and force the ball to Mike Evans more than anyone else on the field. So you have to double him. Make sure that you have to have coverage on that guy because Jameis Winston's going to be more, like I said, more inclined to try to get him the ball, and that's where you can take advantage of and pick that ball off. So there's got to be a lot of attention on that guy all game long, and if they do that, then I think they can take advantage of that matchup.
And I'm happy you said that. And the guy who has an opportunity, who stepped up his game in the last couple games, is Dwight Lowry. I'm not making him sound like he's been a successful signing. I'm not telling you that he's been successful at the safety position, but his last couple games, he's played a little bit better. This is a real opportunity for him to say, I figured it out. I'm ready to start contributing now. This is not, those weren't like that was not fluky. I'm a good player, and this is an opportunity for me. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to, but I think that this is an opportunity for him to do that. Doug Martin out of the backfield. I'm not just talking about running. What was it, muscle hamster, I think. It's been a while since we've, he's had a lot of injury issues. I see him putting up between 50 and 70 yards, but covering him out of the backfield is going to be a nightmare today. And that's another way for them to expose our defense. Justin, does that concern you a little bit? What's more concerning for you from Doug Martin, running the ball or catching the ball out of the backfield?
Well, he does both. The thing about Doug Martin is he hasn't really got going this year. He has had decent games, but it's a concern because if he gets going early, I like our run defense still. I know we all miss Brandon Mebane tremendously, but we can have success today against the run. We can with our rotation like we had last week. Bosa played his heart out. Darius Philon was in there in the mix. These guys had a really good rotation last week, I should say, against the Texans. Loved what they were doing defensively, and I think they can stop Doug Martin today. I really do.
What's Doug Martin's success going to be against the Chargers if he has success through the air on the ground, David?
If he has success, I mean, it's probably going to be in the passing game. I'm really not too concerned with him as a runner. He's not had a very good season this year. I am actually a little bit more concerned with the backup Jaquiz Rogers.
Yeah,
he's running at a 4.5 yards per carry clip. So if anything on the run game, you're going to have to key in on Mr. Rogers instead over the muscle hamster.
Hal in the chat room had a really interesting point. Usually he's just out there trying to tick me off, but he actually has a pretty good point right now. And he says Jameis Winston and Cam Newton are the future of what the NFL quarterbacks will look like. And that's an interesting thought. You got these big guys who can throw the ball, but they're not necessarily running quarterbacks, but they're big enough where they can get some yards. And it's kind of interesting,
Cam Newton is a running quarterback, man. I mean, he's I think he's an all-time rushing leader.
But he can throw the ball too. He's not just a running quarterback. He can throw
the
ball too,
yeah.
And he's not a running quarterback like Steve Young was or like Michael Vick was. He's a big running quarterback like Tim Tebow, but he can throw the ball,
Sure.
That kind of an idea. And it's an interesting thought. I think you're always going to have the pocket passers. You'll always have that. But I think that the balance of power is shifting a little bit. And I think you're going to say, I agree. Mark this date in history. I think I agree with something that Hal said. Another thing from Dwight Lowry today is Cameron Brate, the tight end. Dwight Lowry's going to have his hands full today because he's got to worry. I know it's not his sole responsibility for that tight end, but I think he's going to be on him a lot. And going back and forth between Mike Evans and Cameron Brate, I think that we might be looking at the back of Dwight Lowry's jersey quite a bit today, chasing guys down. Cameron Brate, do you think that he's poised to have a pretty good game against us, Justin?
Yeah, I do. Hopefully not for our sake, but super talented, big tight end. Guy can play. Jameis likes him on his underneath routes and over the top on a mismatch. I've seen him go deep a few times. So, definitely concerning. Got to stop him. Got to keep a Denzel Perriman on him. Get him on somebody that can match up well with him and coverage.
Yeah, and don't give him free releases quickly. David, on the tight end, do you think that he has he's poised for a big game against us?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I guess it depends on the success that Mike Evans and Jameis Winston have, really. I mean, because I think it's going to be a one or the other type of thing. I mean, I don't think anyone else is really going to be of too much concern. I mean, yeah, you got to key in on Cecil Shorts, but I think the tight end's actually a more relied upon weapon for Jameis Winston. So those are the two guys that you're going to have to take a look at, and I think it's going to have to be something that you just have to monitor throughout the game.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of weapons. This is a much different team than we faced last week, and I think our defense has a lot more to worry about than just than just the guys they had to worry about last week. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back on the other side. We're running a little bit late. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with the predictions, bold predictions, and we'll see what it's going to be interesting because everybody last week predicted the Chargers to lose. Let's see what happens this week. I'll be right back.
Superchargers, there's nobody that goes harder. Blue and yellow thunderbolts, we ain't gonna win.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSB.com.
The diehards, everywhere you go, all you gonna see is that blue and yellow, blue and yellow. You hear the crowd go live, look at all our fan support. We appreciate you. You are who we do it for. Do it for each other. Person next to me is my brother.
We have now arrived at my very favorite section of the show, and that's the prediction section. Love to take the predictions. I know Hal's in the chat room right now. If he's still in there, I'd love to see what your prediction is. And I'm going to go ahead and start us off this week. I did something that I never hardly do last week, and I predicted that the Chargers were going to lose. And Realistic Rob is still my thoughts are the same. This team does not have enough talent left, on the roster to beat a good team, and I think Tampa Bay is a good team. I predict the final score: Tampa Bay 31, San Diego 26. My player of the game for the game, I think Gordon will have 2 rushing touchdowns. I think he's going to end up he's going to get that 10th, and he's going to get his 11th. My bold prediction for the Chargers is Tenny Palapoy will have 2 sacks today. And
nice.
Out for the season, like I said, I teased this already. Corey Legent, he got that C on his he got the C on his jersey, which just means that next week we're going to be announcing who the new defensive captain is. Corey Legent out for the season. Those are my predictions. Justin, what do you got?
Yeah, I was going to go player of the game first. Hunter Henry's going to have a big day today. I think touchdown and 100 yards receiving for him. I think those tight ends for us will be huge. I'm going to be in the same boat with you. You know me, Jason. I'm a realist. I am always said, prove it to me, right? Prove that you can win consistently. String a few together. Show me that you can do this. This is a very good football team we're playing today. Tampa Bay Bucs are a pretty good, solid team. I think they lose. They drop one at home today, 34-28. I'm going to go with the same thing I went with last week. Prove it to me that you can win. I want to see it consistently, and then I'll start predicting them to win again. Show the fans that you guys are for real. If you want to rattle off 6 in a row, then rattle off 6 in a row. And then for seasoning injury, we're going to have Casey Hayward.
That's been a popular one this year. Yeah. All right. That would put Craig Mager as the number 1 cornerback.
God.
Look at how scared David looks.
Flag.
David, let's see if you're going to go with the trend or if you're going to buck the trend. What's the final predictions here from you?
Well, if you guys have tuned into my show, you already know where I predicted, and I'm going with the Chargers' victory against you guys. I'm sorry. I think this is a much better team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, the last couple of games, yeah, they've played well, but they haven't played against really, really good offenses. And guess what, gentlemen? The Chargers are a very, very good offense. I think the Bolts are going to win 28-24. I think they're going to get to 6-6, and if they do get to 6-6, I think that they have a very good chance of taking that momentum and riding it all the way through Phil Simber.
Big Mo.
Yes, absolutely. My bold prediction for this game is that Antonio Gates is going to tie the record today. I think he's going to get two touchdowns, and he's going to tie that all-time touchdowns by a tight end record today.
Nice.
I'm not going to anybody on IR because I don't mess with that stuff.
No problem. That's what
that's what we like to do.
When we started doing that, that's when they started winning. So we got away from it and they lost. So we're back to it. And it is nice to hear somebody predict the Chargers to win. I'm with Justin. I got to see it. And it's not that I don't like the system. It's not that I don't like the coaches. I just don't think there's enough talent left. That's
right. And by no means are we wanting
I disagree.
them to lose. Yeah. We don't want them to lose.
I know you guys don't want them to lose. I just see it a little bit differently. Yeah. I mean, I think that Jameis Winston's going to make some mistakes. I think the Chargers are going to force some turnovers, and I think they're going to sack Jameis Winston like 3 or 4 times today.
And the Chargers are the only team in the NFL to create a turnover in every single game.
Right.
So the turnovers might be key. We'll have to see. David, I hope you're right. Justin, I hope you and I are wrong.
Me too.
What's good for everybody else is I'm usually wrong. So
yeah, exactly.
So that's good. That's good for the Charger fans out there. David, San Diego Sports Domination Podcast. We appreciate you joining us for the pregame shows. I know you were at the game last week and you were unavailable, but we love you coming in here and bringing a little bit of we're going to call it an outsider's perspective. And it's great because you went against us real quickly. Hal in the chat room, Philip Rivers throws for 400 years in a loss against
400 years?
400 yards, excuse me.
That's a lot of years.
And he says the Bucs win by 10. Philip Rivers with 400 yards. I hope Hal's wrong, but I always hope Hal's wrong. You know how that goes.
What game this season have we lost by more than or by 10 points?
Yeah,
come on, name one.
Yeah, no, they've definitely kept them close.
In every game.
Yeah, they've definitely been in every game. That's for sure. So David, once again, thank you so much for being part of the show. We love having you in here. Justin, as always, The Rock. Appreciate you being in here. We'll be back on Wednesday. For everybody else out there, once again, you only get 16 of these precious regular season games a year. Whether you're happy with the way the season's going or not, enjoy football Sunday and go Bolts, baby.
Go Bolts.
Go Bolts.
Thank you for listening to the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans. Brought to you by Cali Comfort, home of the low and slow barbecue, and SK Digital Imaging with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, Jason Eidsmoe, and Mike Maciejewski. Subscribe to us on iHeartRadio, on Spreaker, and on iTunes. Visit SanDiegoSportsJunkies.com for all your Chargers, Padres, and Aztecs news.